Farida. I've been the parent of a child with multiple special needs. The journey began with a diagnosis of profound autism for my little boy Rahim. I didn't know much about autism, and it was very, very difficult because he didn't communicate, he couldn't speak, he couldn't do much of anything, so it was tough. He was about 7. He was falling down a lot, and so I went to the doctor or the orthopedic surgeon, and I said, something's wrong with his legs, can you please fix them? And he did some testing and said, I'm sorry, this is muscular dystrophy. In particular, it's called Duchenne muscular dystrophy, which means that this is progressive and life-limiting. So it's interesting how this was presented to me almost like the recipe of a cake. First his legs will go, then his arms will go, then his back will go. You might need a rod in his spine to keep it straight. And ultimately either his heart or his lungs will be the cause of death. And I saw this sign for the Western Society for Children, and so I stopped at the booth and I said, what do you guys do? And so the person said, a little bit about what they do, and they said, why don't you come into our office and meet with this wonderful lady called Wanda? So I did. And for the first time in my life, I felt like somebody was interested in listening to my story. When you get funding from other sources, government organizations, whatever they may be, nonprofits, you almost have to go through these series of steps. You do this and then you get this, and it has to be this or it doesn't have to be this. Nobody's really interested in your personal story and how challenging it is. His legs were pretty much not working at all, so he was like dead weight, and to transport him was extremely difficult because I had a wheelchair, and so I had to lift him out of the wheelchair and into the car and then pack up his wheelchair, which is quite heavy as well. I said, she took me under she just took me under her wing and said, okay, let's work together and see what we can do. And so then she took over that application process and all the hoops that I had to jump through and all the information and documentation that I had to gather to sort of qualify. And she was able to get me a van lift, and my God, did that make a difference to my life. So that was the start of my journey with the Western Society. I had a van lift. I would meet with her periodically, and she would check to see how things were going. Not just for Rahim, but for his brother and myself, a family unit. And so of course I talked about some of the sibling rivalry. My older boy felt very left out, neglected, because this little person got all the attention. So Wanda did some magic and fundraising, and she got him a bike. So he was presented with a beautiful bike, and he was thrilled. My God, somebody's paying attention to me. Rahim was non-verbal, so we got Wanda to do some magic and get him a tech talk, I think it's called. It's like a communication board, so you could just press a button and that was one of the items. There was so many things, I can't even remember all of them. And the final one was I really wanted to take Rahim to Disneyland. So on his behalf, I was speaking and saying this is his last wish. So again, Wanda jumped in, and through the assistance of many others, she was able to have a fundraiser which included a car wash, and people were really, really generous in this car wash for Rahim's. Guess what? We were able to come up with a nice chunk of money, and we went to Disneyland in style. It was the most amazing trip. Rahim loved every moment of it. And it's not just about equipment, and it's not just about fundraisers, but there's quality of life. And I was struggling, from every angle possible. I was a single parent. I had another kid who was fighting for my attention, so he was active. People hear about special needs and disabilities, you hear about it, you learn about it, even at a post-secondary level, but really you have to walk a mile in those shoes. You just don't know how difficult it is. So when you get support for the entire family, it changes everything. I don't know if I could have made it. I think I would have collapsed under the pressure if I didn't have somebody who really cared and really understood. And I'm sure I'm making Wanda very uncomfortable because I'm saying all these things about her, but it is the truth.